He literally made the whole world believe a man could fly. To millions around the globe, he was the absolute definition of invincibility. But nobody knew that the Man of Steel was hiding a terrifying paradox, or that his final movie role would become a chilling real-life prison. Welcome to Life in 5. In this explainer, we're looking at the untold story of Christopher Reeve, diving deep into his internal struggles and his incredible reclamation of power. If you want to understand the profound psychology behind history's most fascinating figures, hit that subscribe button right now to uncover the hidden truth with us. 1/16 of an inch. Guys, that's literally the width of a single penny. And that is the exact terrifying margin of Christopher Reeve's survival. When he fell from a horse in a sun-drenched Virginia field, the myth of his absolute invincibility completely shattered against the earth. I mean, think about it. A fraction to the right, he walks away with a concussion. A fraction to the left, he dies instantly. Instead, he existed in this narrowest possible sliver of survival. He became a prisoner of a decimal point. Okay, let's dive right into this. Section 1, the myth of invincibility. So Christopher Reeve was born into incredible intellectual privilege, right? But he really found his true voice under the stage lights. Early on, he actually made this secret Juilliard pact with his wildly energetic roommate, Robin Williams, promising to always keep each other afloat. And then success hit him with the force of a sonic boom. In 1978, he didn't just get the role of Superman, he actively conquered it. He beat out 200 other actors. He packed on 30 pounds of raw muscle just to physically embody the moral weight of a god. He became a global icon. But the incredible rise and fall of Christopher Reeve is really defined by the unbelievable pressure that Kate put on his shoulders. He lived at an absolute breakneck pace. He piloted planes, he flew solo across the Atlantic, he conquered competitive sports, he sailed, but beneath this mask of elite perfectionism, there was a deep, hidden terror of failure. He obsessed over every single detail. I mean, the guy mapped his horse jumps 3 times before a competition. He was constantly running from the idea of ever falling short, masking all that internal anxiety with extreme physical dominance. Now, here's where it gets dark. Section 2, the ominous dark mirror. Now, what's really interesting about this slide is the hidden truth buried right here in the timeline. In 1995, Reeve took on a role in a film called Above Suspicion, playing a paralyzed police detective bound to a wheelchair. For weeks, he actively studied how to inhabit a paralyzed body. On May 21st, the film premieres. Just 6 days later, on May 27th, he has his accident. For weeks, he had unknowingly rehearsed his own devastating future. It's honestly one of history's most eerie, script-like twists of fate, life imitating art with brutal, unforgiving precision. Section 3, the 1/16th inch tragedy. Let's look exactly at what happened on that day, May 27th, 1995, in Culpeper, Virginia. He rode a horse named Buck. He approached the third rail. His horse suddenly stopped. Reeve flipped forward. He landed squarely on his head. His top 2 vertebrae shattered instantly. And in that moment, there was no cape to catch him. Just the physics of a 1,200-pound animal and a sudden, terrifying silence. And this brilliantly illustrates the horrific duality of his life, set in a single instant. The Man of Steel literally became the Man of Wires. He went from this global symbol of invincibility to a man who couldn't draw a single breath without a mechanical ventilator. And the dark reality of systemic Hollywood, they effectively ghosted him. Once he lost that superhuman physique, the industry that built him just quietly looked the other way. Section 4, the psychological abyss. If you really want to know what happened to Christopher Reeve in the immediate aftermath, you have to look at those dark, early days at the University of Virginia Medical Center. His body was completely immobilized, but his mind was trapped in this hyper-aware state of intense grief. That invincible mask was entirely stripped away, leaving a naked, truly terrifying vulnerability. He stared at the hospital ceiling and actively contemplated the end. He looked at his wife, Dana, and voiced the visceral, internal struggle that completely consumed him. He just said, "Maybe we should let me go." The sheer weight of his new reality was absolutely crushing. He was now entirely dependent on others, which was a profound psychological shock to a man who once mapped out his entire life with absolute, meticulous control. But then, the hospital door bursts open. A man in surgical scrubs and a mask charges into the room, snapping a rubber glove and speaking in this thick, completely absurd accent claiming to be a Russian proctologist. It was Robin Williams. He had shown up to fulfill that Juilliard pact. Through sheer chaotic absurdity, Williams pulled his best friend right back from the psychological abyss. Reeve later said that the laugh he let out in that exact moment was the second he realized he was still himself inside the cage of his body. Section 5. Disrupting the medical system. So the crucial point is how he reclaimed his agency. He outright refused to play the victim. He refused to surrender to systemic oppression. The man who once flew on screen now actively transformed into a fierce scientific disruptor. He looked at the painfully slow medical establishment and decided, you know what, I'm going to force it forward myself. He actively attacked centuries-old medical dogma. He lobbied the National Institutes of Health with relentless force, and because of his direct advocacy, he helped drive the NIH to double its budget to a staggering $27.2 billion. To put that into perspective, he took on politicians, scientists, and bureaucrats, moving the needle of global medical funding without being able to move a single limb. He also raised $55 million directly for paralysis research. $55 million. And because of his sheer relentless will to disrupt the system, he achieved the absolute impossible. In 2002, defying literally every doctor who told him his spinal cord was permanently destroyed, he regained sensation in his toes and fingers. He actively forced his own nervous system to reawaken. Let's move to this next concept and see how this builds his massive legacy. Scientists now call this the Reeve effect. Before him, the spinal cord was widely considered the graveyard of neurobiology, just a place where cells died and could never ever be repaired. Well, he destroyed that dogma completely. By the time his heart failed him in 2004, at the age of 52, he had permanently transformed the entire landscape of medical science. Section 6. The ultimate hero debate. The truth is, his life leaves us with a really profound historical question. He was a man who lived two entirely different lives, one as a fictional god of the sky, and another as a grounded warrior fighting an invisible biological war. Historians and fans alike look at this incredible journey and are forced to weigh the impact of these dual legacies. So, we are left with a massive question to debate. Did that terrifying accident in Virginia destroy Superman? Or did it finally reveal the real man inside the suit? He lost his ability to fly, only to discover his actual power. How do you define a hero today? Let us know what you think in the comments below, and don't forget to hit subscribe to uncover more incredible stories with us. #LifeIn5, mini documentary, History Uncovered.